I know you guys are looking at this like big deal. I see these at Walmart, not a big deal. The ones at Walmart don't do this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hello YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream. We are touching on something that needs to be talked about. We've talked about this in the past, but we showed you how it was set up in pieces. We didn't ever have the whole system all together, and we've got some more parts today. I want to talk about the best water system for an RV that we could find, and these aren't even the best that they offer. They have some upgrades now.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
So if you don't know what we're talking about Blu Technology. This is a company we've had dealings with for over 2 years. Yeah, it's been 2 years. When we first hit the road full-time in the RV, which if you guys are just joining on with us, we were full-time on the road for 3 years. And we started off with a travel trailer. We moved into a fifth wheel. We didn't have any answer for what was going on when we were going to these campgrounds, hooking up and expecting to get decent water. So we went through a whole bunch of different iterations of water filters. We had this big trash, what I call the rust bucket, that captured all the rust. That one did pretty good. Helped us out in Orlando whenever there were some new sites being put in, and we were actually flying little pieces of Teflon tape in our filters, and that big filter saved us. We also then went through, the normal. The RV came with an onboard filter. The filter was really expensive, and it wasn't even convenient. You couldn't buy another filter for it. You had to use that one. It was in a bad place, and it didn't do that good of a job. I mean, it did a basic filtration, but that's it. So we bypassed that. It was just in the way, especially in our fifth wheel. And then we tried out the normal, put on the hose filter, the ones that are just the regular blue filters you buy at Walmart. Matter of fact, I've got that here. Let me see. You know what I'm talking about. We still have a bunch left over. That there, of course, this is a different color, but you can get the blue ones at Walmart. These are just generic filters that they can work if you're just a weekend camper and you just really don't care about your water system. You got to figure that you got to be concerned about your water pump and all the scale that's going to build up on that. And of course, your shower head and all the scale that'll build up on that. But while you're on the road, that's the guys that I'm addressing, are the people that are on the road that want to have water. These filters take care of a lot of that. Now, obviously, what I'm showing here off to the right, this isn't a filter. This is a water softener. When we first got this, we were one of the first ones in the country to have them. It was kind of like a prototype pre-production release. Right away, we loved the way that it looked. This helps a lot, especially like in our case, our RV had a washer and dryer, and the suds were so much more, so you used less soap. It wasn't, take as long to wash the clothes. Everything came clean. It smelled really nice. And not only that, but in the shower, you could lather so much more. And I'm going to tell you, when we traveled, the first year we were out, we hit 33 states. We did over 20,000 miles. We were moving at a pretty good clip, and we saw all kinds of crazy water. We saw water that the pressure was so low, it was just ridiculous. And not only that, it wasn't good. It was like a sulfur tasting water. We saw what Arizona offered. There's a reason that quartzite is called quartzite, is because of all the rocks that are in the ground. And all those minerals have a tendency to make it up through the well and into your rig to where the water's actually crunchy. If you don't filter it out, it could be crunchy. And then some of the worst places that we actually had water problems was in Florida. Florida water ate up one of those filters like I just showed you. We had one of those filters on there, and we had that rust bucket filter, and we were putting it into a zero water pitcher. And the filter that was to be in the water pitcher, the one that you're supposed to replace every 3 months. So how long did that water filter last?
7 days.
7 days, can you believe that? It was horrible. If you go back and look at our video, when we put these in our fifth wheel, they never had to come out ever again. I mounted this with a makeshift bracket. Guess what? This company now makes a bracket that mounts this inside your RV in the pass-through storage or wherever you may want to put it. They didn't have that before, and I had rigged something up. And then as far as this was concerned, we set that in the pass-through once you open the door, and our hoses hooked up direct to it. We didn't have to do anything but pull out a hose, connect it to the faucet, and that was it. We had water completely filtrated and softened. So as far as connecting, what I said about the hoses, the reason I was so excited about it was everything is stainless and it's a quick disconnect. Now, you can't have, or you shouldn't have, dissimilar metals being connected to certain things. And stainless is definitely by far the purest form of getting your water to you without having adverse effects on your health. Although this, will carry your water the best way possible, you're still going into plastic lines, PEX lines, and into a plastic tank inside your RV. I recommend never drinking the water out of your plastic tank. It's just not a good idea. So this is a no kink design. Can you kink it? Of course you can kink it. Regardless of what is being said, you could always kink a no kink hose or a no kink pipe. But it does a really good job the way that it's braided and reinforced to keep everything from, really being compressed and pinched off. So this is our feed line. This is the line that came from the faucet that was outside the rig. Now this is only 25 foot. If I was to do it again, I would buy two 25 footers. I wouldn't recommend getting a 75 foot or a 50 foot just for the fact that you've got to store that every time. There was only a few situations that I got into that I needed more than 25. So, you can imagine this being twice as big and having to unroll it and roll it back in. In our case, we had it set up in our rig to where we just could pull this out and it would unferrule and put you over to the hose bib that hooked up to the campground. So 25 foot here. Once we got inside the rig, because of the softener and trying to route through the softener, you can see we had a couple of short ones. These are both 6 footers, I think.
5 or 6.
Yeah, they were very short because we had a very short distance to cover. So now that I talked about the system and what we had already and we love, let's talk about some of the features that they have addressed since we first installed this in our fifth wheel. They've done it. I mean, they've gone and done the research and the homework, and one of the things that they realize is just like a chain is as strong as its weakest link, the water can only be as good as the worst component in the water system. And in our case, we had actually put a 90-degree brass fitting to connect one of these hoses, one of these shorter hoses actually to be exact, from the softener into the RV, as the final piece, and it was made of that brass. And the owner, the CEO, they saw that out there and they said, you know what, they can't be having this nice, perfect water going through all this stainless and then ultimately going through a brass fitting after the fact of it being taken care of and softened. So that's what they did. And there's some other stuff in here. So let's take a look at some of the newest products that they offer. And this is going to be first for us. We don't even know what's in the box. We have an idea, but we don't know for sure. So let's see. So one of the things that I had a problem with whenever we were hooking up to our RV was needing 90-degree fittings. This is going to be a stainless, oh man, this is nice. The box is nice. It looks like a jewelry box.
Yeah, nice.
That's some good marketing, good packaging there.
Nice.
So this is the piece here that'll make it to where you can go 90 degrees right into your rig. And again, this is all stainless. And not only that, but look at the size. Look at how big this is. So this is the piece here that we had bought that was brass. It was just brass. And then we had, one of these fittings to allow us to connect up to it. And again, this will allow your quick disconnect to get the water that's already been filtered, already been cleaned, right into the rig. And not only that, but the transitions, it's wide, it's 3/4 of an inch. I mean, it's all the way through.
The brass wasn't.
Yeah, the brass was real small. So that's nice. This is a very good size for flow reasons. Obviously, like I said, some of these places didn't have very good water pressure as it was. Last thing you want to do is restrict it. So kudos to them. Again, we'll have links to their website for that. The next thing was, and I was really excited. You know what? I'm going to leave that. You guys are going to have to wait for that one. The next thing that we'll go into is their pressure regulator. And again, our pressure regulator that we had was made of brass. Not only that, the worst part about it, it was so restrictive. However, look at this baby.
Wow.
It's all stainless. It has got a liquid-filled gauge. And the reason you want liquid filled is for dampening and is for more accuracy. Sometimes some of these campgrounds, you'll get some kind of water hammer going on, and this needle will just bounce around. This is all liquid filled, so you don't have to worry about that. Of course, it's got a quick disconnect, and inside I can already tell that the opening is much better than the one we had. The one we had was just a tiny little half moon shape, and there just wasn't a lot of flow going on there. The thing with these is, pressure-wise, you want to keep everything safe in your rig. You don't want to be blowing apart your faucet in your shower or your sink, or God forbid, any of the PEX lines that are running throughout your rig. Got to be concerned about that. I'll tell you what we did. We didn't adjust our pressure when we went camping at Dale Hollow Dam site, and our water pump could not handle the back pressure that it would normally hold to keep water from going in our fill tank, our freshwater tank. And what happened, again, because we didn't adjust the pressure, it filled our freshwater tank. We came back from somewhere, and luckily the freshwater tank was just leaking out the fill hose. It was just leaking on the ground. No big deal, nothing happened to the rig, but it could have been a lot worse, definitely. So pressure regulators are definite when you're out there on the road. And again, if you've got everything perfect, stainless. Now they recommend 60 PSI. Anything above 60 PSI could damage the filters. It could damage, everything. So stay below 60. Okay, and before we get into the last piece, which is really, really cool, I'm telling you. Again, hose size, make sure that you get the hose size that you may need for yours to do what you need to do. This is a 10-foot hose, and you can see this is brand new. This is a brand new hose, right? This here is a hose that was inside the rig. This is a hose. Look at the difference between the two. Hardly any. We would wipe this off occasionally, but it's really resistant to looking like junk. This is a brand new hose. This is the one that has seen outside of almost every campground that we have been to for over 2 years. And it looks almost as good as the one right out of the box. There's a little bit less shine, but these stainless hoses, they're no joke. And the nice thing is, it comes with the fittings that you just screw it onto what you need, and then you have a quick disconnect from that point on. I love it. I really love these hoses. Everybody should be doing this. They should be using stainless. As you're pulling it in and out of your rig too, it slides so much easier than a rubber hose. Now, we're done screwing around. I know you guys are probably not getting excited about it, but I think this is a very cool little piece. This is a manifold, which they call a three-way splitter. But this is a manifold that goes on the faucet, because you know how hard it is to get all of your hoses on one hose bib. You have one connection that the campground gets you. Yet, like in our case, we needed two hoses. We needed one for our black tank flush that we kept hooked up the whole time, and we needed one to go to our water softener. Now, some people like to have an extra one to be able to fill their bucket, hose off their shoes, whatever the case may be. Well, this manifold allows you to connect and offers you 3 connections, but that's not the best part. I know you guys are looking at this like, big deal. I see these at Walmart, not a big deal. This is all stainless, and the ones at Walmart don't do this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I don't know how many times I have needed to have the ability to point this thing away from the hose bib. Or it's right up against the pole that it's mounted. Those hose bibs usually are just plastic PVC pipe, and then it's got a regular garden hose hookup, and it's right up against a board that has clamps on it and everything else. This will allow you to connect to it, and you can pivot this in the direction that you need for your hoses so that you can keep clear of whatever obstacles you got. The other thing is, a lot of times we get to the campgrounds and the hose bib's on the ground. I mean, it's like that far from the ground. So now I hook this up to the bib, the faucet, the spigot, and I can't, it's driving my hose straight in the ground. Not anymore. I mean, that's perfect. I love it. I think this is a great idea. These are ball valves. If you're not familiar with a ball valve, it's just a quick, I guess that's about a half a turn, I'll say, and it's perfect. I mean, this I was so excited to see this. So all of these products, again, the link's going to be down below for it. Blu Technology, we appreciate dealing with them. We're actually going to go see them at the Tampa show. Yep. It'll be nice to run into them. You know what? I think we missed them at the Hershey show. Yeah. But yeah, the whole idea, I mean, it's just, it's a brilliant idea, the whole system. And they've got some new stuff coming in the works. Right now, you can get the upgrade from this. They have a better short filtration system that's even lighter than this one is. I like this one a lot. The reason I like it is because the little wrench, I can just put it, it kind of holds it. It's right here, it's all tucked in. So yeah, Blu Technology. Again, links down below. Great system, guys. We wouldn't talk about it as much as we did if we didn't believe in it. No matter, we've got very few products. There's probably 4 to 5 products that we firmly believe is very well, money well spent. Yes. And this is one of them. How do you put a value on the health that you get and just being exposed to all that stuff out there on the road? And not only that, it's just the ease of hooking up and disconnecting. Once you set this and find a place for it, you can just leave it. You don't have to mess with it ever again. Yeah. I love it. So again, links are down below, and
as always, hope to see you out there. Bye.
Bye.